Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Greg. Just trying to do another video here. I'm gonna do an experiment here. I'm just gonna go through my Twitter timeline for the day of things that I've basically just retweeted and thought was interesting, and kind of just try to make it into a video. See how that works out. All right. So I'm gonna go with the first one here.
If we make guns illegal, then nobody will get shot. That's how we stopped everybody from doing drugs.
So I retweeted this video, basically called. Well, it didn't really have a title, but it's like basically trying to talk about the stuff that liberals try to preach that they think makes sense, but it really doesn't make too much sense. Like they said that, oh, we tried to get rid of drugs by making it illegal, but look at what happened with the drugs. It just kind of exploded, so they kind of had to only make certain drugs illegal, like not alcohol. Like they tried to make alcohol legal in the Prohibition era, and it just made the violence go crazy. And they're saying the same thing with, if you try to do the same thing with the guns, it would probably do the same thing. So, yeah. I mean, there's just a million reasons why you can't really suspend guns and everything like that. I mean, you basically wouldn't have a free society with it. So, you basically be hoping that you have a good leader that actually cares about the people and be kind of at their mercy. So, um, yeah, I don't own a gun personally. I probably will one day, but I got no problem with anybody that owns guns or anything like that. I think it's good and I think it's necessary. Pro two-way all the way, man.
Want to stop drunk drivers from killing sober drivers? Ban sober drivers. That's how gun control works. Abortion isn't.
So, anyway, it's just a bunch of stuff that uh, has to do with the conservative arguments versus liberal arguments. For anybody who follows my page knows that I'm for most of the conservative arguments. So I don't need to go through every single one. It's entertaining to me, but I don't know how many people find it entertaining. So I'm gonna move on to the next video. So the next video I feel is very interesting because, um, and this is something that I hope Trump definitely addresses, because this lady got arrested for trying to kick squatters out of her house. These people were squatting in her house. They don't pay rent. They don't do nothing. They just basically went into her house and just basically said, "I live here." And the only reason why they said they have a claim was because, hold on, let me see if I can get the explanation. Oh, she said the reason why I'm allowed to stay here because I'm a relative of somebody who used to stay here. So wasn't the person that stayed there, but she was a relative of somebody who used to stay there. But they had left a long time ago. But they're saying that, oh, that's not what the contract said. So I'm allowed to stay here. But it wasn't even her that was on the contract to stay there. It was her relative, and yet they're still basically saying that she is allowed to squat in the house, not pay rent, and just claim that they live there. Look, man, I tell you right now, if I owned the house and somebody was there and they weren't supposed to be there, they're getting the heck out, and I'd get arrested too. They got to do something about these laws, man. There's no reason why squatters should be allowed to just take over people's homes like that. That's absolutely insane. And honestly, it's unconstitutional because there's something that I think, can't remember which constitutional right, but it says something about how foreign soldiers can't just come and live in your own house. So if foreign soldiers can't come and live in your own house, why are people who are not on the lease and the owner is saying that we don't have a contract allowed to live in your house? That's absolutely insane, dude. So I really pray for that woman, and I think they need to really like help her out because that's absolutely insane. And that's it's not. This woman is black, so it's not like a race thing. It's just the homeowner versus people who are just trying to get over on the system thing. So, man, I really hope she gets out of jail, and I hope they fix that because that's bad, bro. It's really bad. Let's see what's going on with the next video here. Oh, okay. So in New York City, this lady was burnt to death. This apparently now that this, I think I got in another video where it's like a Guatemalan immigrant basically lights this woman on fire and basically burns the whole train down. And this woman dies from being burnt to death because this dude threw a match on her, causing the whole train to just go up in flames. And I mean, somebody had to lose their life, and trains all burnt up. I mean, I'll post all these links in my YouTube thing. But this is absolutely insane, man. Like this is stuff that just shouldn't be going on, man. This is absolutely crazy, bro. Like I mean, I don't know why they can't figure this stuff out, man. This is really, really bad. And like I said, I'll put my link on, and you'll be able to see all these things if you want to see them. It's just crazy, bro. Uh, so the next video has somebody that I follow. The New York Giants lost today to the Atlanta Falcons that got blown out again. So we are in the driver's seat for the number one pick. I guess the big debate, as far as I'm concerned, it's really not a debate for me, but it's going to be a debate because I know a lot of people like Shador Sanders as the number one pick, but I do not like Shador Sanders as the number one pick. I think Cam Ward is better than Shador Sanders. I think if the Giants get the number one pick, they should be taking Cam Ward. But it seems like everybody's kind of pushing towards Shador Sanders, which, first of all, even if you thought Shador was better or if it was a tie or whatever, I don't know. Do you really want to deal with the family? Do you really want to deal with Dion and his influence and his chirping on the sideline of like they're not using my boy right and all that other stuff if like things go bad? Because I mean, if he was clearly like the best player, I'd be like, fine, whatever. I guess you got to deal with it. But there is clearly a quarterback that is on his level or better, which I think he's better. But at the very least, he's on his level. And you don't have to deal with the nonsense, dude. Like, so I know a lot of Giants fans want him. Man, if I had to guess, ugh, I, we probably would take him. But I think it's a mistake, man. I think that Cam Ward should be the number one pick. So I guess this will be my first big prediction that will be documented. I'm gonna be hammering this point home that Cam Ward should be the number one pick. I know if the Titans are there when Cam Ward picks, I know there's some people at Miami University that works at Tennessee, so I'm pretty sure that he'll be a Tennessee Titan if he's on the board and Tennessee is there. I'm pretty sure that they will take him. The Raiders won today too, so I think it's like the Giants won, Jaguars two. I think the Patriots are three. Um, so I don't think the Patriots and the Jags are on the market for a quarterback. So I think whoever's at that fourth spot will probably get that second quarterback. Man, I tell you, if Cam Ward falls to number four, that'd be a big, big steal, bro. I'm telling you, he should be the number one pick, man. He's just so accurate. He's got a good body, he's thick, he's hard to bring down. Um, he's a cerebral quarterback. He's smart. He's all about football. He's not gonna do no nonsense, whatever. Maybe a little celebration if he scores, whatever. But other than that, he's all about football. He's a great leader. I think he really galvanized Miami. And like I said, Shador had a good year too. So I'm not trying to act like he didn't. I think he's very talented. It's just, it's my thing is I just don't want the family distraction that he's clearly going to bring. He talks a lot of trash. When things don't go well, he bashes his teammates. He bashed his O line last year. Like I just don't think that stuff is gonna fly real well in the pros, and then he's not gonna have his father to basically protect him unless Dion becomes a pro coach, which he said he wouldn't do. But who knows with him? But I just think that Cam is the safest pick. He's the best pick. He's the best player in the draft. You gotta take him, dude. That's just my opinion. Moving on to the next video. It's just an old video of somebody uh, talking about how the unvaccinated should be criminalized or whatever. We can move on from that. That's obviously been proven wrong. So here's a video about the Eagles game, and now Eagles fans, or at least Jalen Hurts fans, are basically saying how, oh, because he got hurt and the Eagles lost, people shouldn't be bashing Jalen Hurts anymore. Look, I will say this about Jalen Hurts: you put a good team around him, you're gonna probably do really well. He knows how to manage a game. He knows how to manage a team, and he knows how to do just enough to like win games and whatnot. So that you can't deny. If you're about winning games and that's all you really care about, I guess he's worth the money if you put a good team around him, whatever. But you cannot make an argument that he's having a great year this year. I actually had a conversation with my friend about this situation, and I asked him. I'm like, okay, he was bashing Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow looks like he's not going to make the playoffs. So I asked him. I said, okay, you don't think Joe Burrow's having a good year because his team not going to make the playoffs? So if you're the Eagles, and I offered you Joe Burrow for Jalen Hurts straight up, what would you do? And he said no. Of course you say no. Nobody would do that because people know that Jalen Hurts is not as good as a lot of these top quarterbacks. You know, he's a smart player, short yardage. He understands how to use his body so he can get short yardage and just run it real well, whatever. But I mean, he is not the greatest passer. He's not gonna be like a consistent downfield thrower. I mean, AJ Brown's trying to act like he was not like AJ Brown's trying to act like he didn't have a problem with him, but he obviously did. And honestly, the funny thing is that they're trying to make it seem like, oh, they lost because they didn't have Jalen Hurts. But the truth of the matter is that the backup quarterback actually was driving down the field. He had a 3rd and 5 at the end of the game when it was 30-28. 3rd and 5, he hits Devonta Smith right in the chest with the football, and he drops the ball. So because Devonta Smith dropped the football from the backup quarterback, uh, that means that you need Jalen Hurts. What would Jalen Hurts have done any different? He would have done nothing different. You couldn't have hit the guy any more accurately. He dropped the football. That's not on the quarterback. So that's stupid. Honestly, they would have had at least 3 more downs to kind of kill the clock. They probably would have won that game if he just catch the football. So honestly, this Jalen Hurts hype is just kind of stupid. And honestly, if he was, I hate to make it a race thing, but honestly, if he was a white guy, nobody would be defending him like they're defending him. Like, which is fine. Like I said, he's regardless of whether you believe in his quarterback skills or not. One thing you cannot argue most of the time, if you put a decent team around him, more than decent. I mean, the Eagles are a good team, but if you put a good team around him, he won't waste it, and you'll get wins. It won't be the prettiest thing in the world, but you'll get wins. All right, my next video here is, man, this is kind of a sad video right here. So it's like the cops are confronting some people who are some Illinois teenagers who are, I guess they did something illegal on the road, and I guess they had guns in the car. One guy's being interrogated. They're not complying with what he's saying. He tries to run, and then he shoots at the cop. Cops fire back at him and shoot him. So I mean, honestly, it's a kind of sad to see that you do get shot, but yo, you shoot at the cops. What are they supposed to do, man? So that's right on the body cam. So I mean, it looked like he probably gonna die, but I mean, at least like I said, what are you gonna do, man? Somebody shooting at you, you have the right to shoot back. You should shoot back. I mean, you don't take a cop job just to get shot at or whatever. I mean, you got a right to defend yourself. Anybody has a right to defend themselves. You know, you're making a stop. The guy's not doing what he's supposed to do. They're not complying. They want to try to make a run for it. You got to do what you got to do, man. So, no blame on the cops there. Um, Next video, well, not video, but more of a post, is how this is from Tommy Sotomayor. Uh, the city of Chicago says it's now regrets selling 100% of its income until 2083 from the parking meters in 2008 for 1.2 billion. They sold it for 1.2 billion, and the meters are generating $200 million a year. So if you do the math, right, 200 million a year times six. So the people that have those parking meters got their profit back in 6 years, and they still have it for 69 more years. So they're gonna make $11.5 billion off them parking meters, dude. That's insane. How could they do something like that, dude? 11.6 billion over the next 75 years they're gonna make. That's ridiculous. That's how you invest your money, and that's how the city of Chicago got suckered on that one. And that's kind of sad because obviously it's a big city and they probably need the money. But who knows? They probably would have wasted it anyway. I don't know. Next video is showing Jaden Daniels' game-winning drive against the Eagles. Somebody pointed out that the Redskins' right tackle clearly had a false start. This is a real problem in the NFL, how they can't identify these false starts, sometimes these holdings. I mean, that was a clear false start. Right tackle clearly moved, and they're like trying to defend it. He clearly moved before the ball was snapped. So that shouldn't even have counted. And it was what, like 10 seconds left on the clock? So yeah, they probably wouldn't have even gotten that touchdown if they would have made the proper call. Yeah, it was 10 seconds left. They're on the 9-yard line. Right tackle moves, so it would have been second and goal on the 14, 10 seconds left. It would have been a much harder. I'm not going to say they wouldn't have scored, but that would have been a lot harder situation. So it is what it is. That's unfortunately how the NFL is. Okay, my next post I made, I'll just read it for you. I don't know why I wrote this. I was just write things randomly. Um, okay, so Jesus was there for us, so we have to be there for the so-called hopeless. If that, okay, so this is me talking about the woman who slept with 100 guys on OnlyFans. And I'm just making my comment on that, so I'll just read that. Jesus was there for us, so we have to be there for the so-called hopeless. If that woman who slept with 100 men wanted to come to Christ, our duty as Christians is to love and accept her. Even after she eventually, even after she eventually goes and sleeps with 1,000 more men on camera, we are to love and accept her. But if she clearly isn't repentant, it is not our job to keep entertaining her nonsense. She comes to any Christian in full humility. The, in full humility, yes, if she comes to any Christian in full humility, though, yes, we always should have an open door for for her or any person, because Jesus died for all, and we were once in their shoes as unbelievers who deserve hell. So we should not turn down an opportunity to spread the gospel. So basically, what I'm saying is that there's this woman, I think her name is Lily Phillips, who runs an OnlyFans account and is making millions of dollars sleeping with men online. Uh, after she slept with 100 people, she looked like she was like crying or whatever, and some people thought she was being fake. And but what I'm saying is, and honestly, it did kind of look like she was being a little fake, because then a couple days later, she's like, "Yeah, I want to sleep with 1,000 guys or whatever." So, but look, at some point, she may want to come to God and be like, "What I did was wrong, and um, I don't feel good about myself." And it's not our job to basically throw that stuff in her face or whatever. We wouldn't want people throwing our old stuff in front of her face, our face, the bad stuff that we done, the bad stuff we continue to do. So we just, like I said, just be nice to her and just hope that she's genuine. But when she kind of shows signs that she's not genuine, dude, just leave her alone and just. That's all I'm saying. Let's leave her alone and just hopefully she'll understand that she needs to do it. But I mean, it really hurts my heart when like um, Christians are fooled. You try to be nice to people, you try to be understanding with people, and then they fool you. And then it's kind of like hard when it's like the person's like an attractive person from the opposite sex, because it's like sometimes your hormones probably get involved, and you're thinking that you're helping a woman, and it's just it complicates things when it's like you're attracted to the person because she's attractive and everything like that. So that's why these like OnlyFans people are dangerous, because some of them are really really hot, attractive or whatever, and so you want to have a clear and objective mind, and sometimes it's hard to be objective when they're like super hot and everything like that. But I mean, you just got to do the best that you can, get second opinions, get like so that you're not fooled or whatever. But ultimately, we never want to be like the world and just kind of say, "Oh no, this person is done," and there's no forgiveness for her or whatever. We always try to give people rope as best as we can. That's just unfortunately how it has to be, because you know, look, when we were helpless cases, like I said, Jesus was there. So we just do the best we can, and you know, you do the best you can, and once you can't do it no more, you just leave it to the next person. We're a team. We're a body. If you can't do it no more, hopefully somebody else will be able to pick up the slack. You know, I know I've been taken advantage of a lot. I'm trying to kind of get out of that mode of trying to separate myself from people who have constantly just kind of taken my kindness for weakness or whatever. But I try to be patient as best as I can, because God has been so patient with me. And but you just can't always let people roll over you all the time. You go with them a mile. Once that mile is done, just like I said, let somebody else pick up the slack and just pray for them, man, because it messes with your psyche, messes with your thing. We're supposed to be tough and long suffering, but that doesn't mean you have to suffer forever. Okay, my next video is Debo Samuel scores the first touchdown against the Dolphins. where he like goes through three people and he looks really good. And this guy's like hyping him up, like, "Oh, Debo's back." Okay, like Debo's back. Okay, what does that mean exactly? And anyway, the 49ers ended up losing, and even if they did win, they were out the playoffs anyway. So all this stuff is too late. So I mean, the Niners, they need some young talent in that team. So it's probably, they had a good 3 4 year run. They made the Super Bowl two times. They made the NFC Championship game. So it's unfortunately they didn't get a chance to win it, but they're not out of it. They have a good draft. They can get right back in it. Uh, Next post is showing a beautiful woman by the name of Bernice Burgos, who's showing off her body and saying, "Do you know what makes the world go round?" And I respond saying, "Not old hot chicks that can't have children." So it's basically saying that, look, if you're gonna look, she's like 40 years old and she looks like she's 20 years old. She's in ridiculous shape. She'll probably still get pretty much any guy she wants looking like that. But if you're gonna ask the question, what makes the world go round? Um, Young, fertile women are the ones that help make the world go round. And she's as gorgeous as she is, she's not having no more kids, so she's not making the world go round. So people who want to actually help make the world go round are not gonna go after her. But hey, she can still get a man. And she's hot. She's super hot. Good for her. All right. So I'll make another post here about Denzel Washington, and it seems like he is going to be a Baptist minister. So I had an issue with this, and this is not anything to do with the recent controversy with him kissing a guy in Gladiator 2. I think that's a little misconstrued. I think that was more of a kind of just that's just kind of talking about what they did at that time when the leader wanted somebody to die. He would kiss them right before he would sentence them to death or something like that. So I don't really hold that against Denzel. Maybe I'm being stupid, but I don't hold that against Denzel. Um, what I will hold against him if he wants to be a pastor, not a regular Christian, but a pastor. If you want to be a pastor, his daughter is a homosexual and a lesbian, and it is not like a private thing. It is a because I'm not somebody that goes and looks for these things. She is like kind of out there. Um, she's kind of out there posing and taking pictures on like red carpets and whatnot, showing off her lesbian girlfriend. So, um, yeah, if it's out there that your daughter is a lesbian and promoting homosexuality like that, you cannot be a pastor. That's just, I think, biblical common sense. And I'm going to break out the scripture that kind of proves that in 1 second, just so that people don't think that I am just pulling this out my behind, trying to be mean or whatever. I'm not. I'm just like, you got, like, look. Okay, so the First Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 and 7, 1 through 7. This is a true saying. If a man desires the office of a bishop is a pastor. Excuse me. He desire for good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach. Okay? So, blameless, so you go around the community, you have a good reputation, husband of one wife, so you must be a male who's married. So I couldn't be a pastor either because I am single. Uh, vigilant, sober. You can't be drinking. Uh, you have good behavior. You're somebody who gives the community, somebody who wants to teach. Again, you can't drink. You're not fighting people. You're not a greedy person. You're patient. You're not, again, a fighter. You're not somebody who gets jealous of other people. You just want to serve the Lord. You have, this is the issue with, I'm sorry. So, apt to teach. So, verse 3, not given to wine, no striker, no greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous. So, somebody gets you upset, you're not trying to fight nobody, you're being patient, you're trying to find a peaceful solution. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. That's the issue that I have with Denzel. His children are not in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? Okay, so look, bottom line is that I'm not gonna judge a person. Or I'm not expecting nobody to be perfect or nothing like that. But when your daughter is out there and she's like in a homosexual relationship, I mean that's just you just look. If I had a daughter, I'm not saying like I'm not. If I had a daughter that was doing stuff like that, there's no way I could be a pastor. I wouldn't even feel good about it. I'd be like, yo, man, I'm stepping down. I'm stepping down because that's just not something that should be going on or whatever, right? So, um, so yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, like you can't do stuff like that if you want to be a pastor in the church. Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. Look, man, and this is not even just Denzel. This is any pastor. If you want to be a pastor of a church, you gotta have like a really good. It's like a high. Like, look, you anybody can get saved because you're saved by grace. You don't have to earn nothing. You kind of have to earn the title of a pastor. You got to be well behaved. You can't be drinking. You can't be fighting people. You can't be greedy. You can't be covetous. And if you're, like I said, you have to have, you got to be married. When you get married, your kids got to be well behaved. Like, that's something that you have to earn. Salvation is free. Being a pastor of a church ain't free. You got to, like, because you're representing, you're the leader of us, of your church. So everybody's gonna be looking at you as like you gotta have the example. Plus, people are gonna be coming to you for advice. So you gotta know the scriptures. You gotta know a lot of things. You gotta be giving biblical advice when it's not easy to give biblical advice. Like you gotta have high integrity to say certain things. Like for example, right? Like if a woman who's married is coming to you and her husband don't treat her good and there's some sort of like problems going on in the marriage and she's trying to leave the husband, right? You know that God doesn't want to God doesn't want no divorce amongst Christians. And so if you're gonna preach that type of message to anybody, they gotta know that you're like a credible person, that you're like a right somebody who lives who lives the scriptures as best as he can. Somebody who is not saying something just for his own benefit or whatever. Like he's or so he. They got to know that you care about her. You care about their long term future and everything like that. When you say certain stuff, and some things that you're gonna say, they're not gonna agree with because the world is gonna be saying divorce, divorce, divorce. If it's like that type of situation, and we gotta say, look, man, we walk by faith, not by sight. And God is saying He wants us to stay in marriages. That He does not want us to divorce. So we got to trust God that that your marriage can be healed, and we got to pray for that. and hopefully things change for the best. It's never gonna be perfect, but like these are the type of things you gotta say to people. So they're looking at you and they're like, what does he know? His daughter is a homosexual or whatever. Like they're gonna use any excuse to basically say you don't know what you're talking about. You know, that's why you can't. That's why you really gotta be like on point and say do the things that God is saying. So look, man, Denzel's a great actor, and I think he does give a lot of good advice, like life advice or whatever. But on this, I think he needs to fall back on, and so that's just where I am with it. I'm sure he's gonna kind of do what he wants to do, but Christians need to kind of look, man. I I believe that we're saved by grace, and you know works don't get you in, but once you do get saved, there got to be some preaching on how Christians are supposed to live too, man, because it's there is some structure in the church, and there are things that God wants us to do, and it's like some people just get so caught up in just preaching the gospel, which they absolutely should be doing, that we forget that there's things that God actually wants us to do after uh, being saved as well. So, and that includes me. That includes everybody. It's not gonna make us go to hell, but I mean, we got to represent God as best as we can so that people will want to be saved. I mean, it's a kind of a impossible standard to live by, but we should at least be trying, not because we have to, but because we want to. We want to see people get saved, and unfortunately, the unsaved want to see changes in our lives. So we have to do the best to show them that change. And so that's just what it is. Um, Next video is a Saturday Night Live video where uh, I don't think Saturday Night Live is that funny anymore, but this particular joke was pretty funny. I'll skip it because it's kind of oh, it's kind of out there. Oh man, I don't even know if I'm allowed to be posting stuff like that anymore without people judging me, whatever. But I was just too funny. I had to retweet it. It was about roast beef. I'll just leave it at that. uh, Another post about how this guy believes that 4 Senate seats and 20 House seats were stolen in the election. Look, man, I do believe that there was some cheating, illegal stuff going in the election. There's really nothing we can do about it until they pass a national voter ID. That's all I'm really hoping for from Trump because uh, if he gets us that, then that'll go a long way to help dealing with this country because I do think there's certain states that want change, kind of want to kind of go a different direction outside the liberal ways, and they can't get an opportunity to because these machines are cheating. So hopefully we can get the national voter ID and we can finally get accurate elections and see what's what. I hope we do, and if he does that, I have no doubt that there will be more Senate seats going towards Republicans and more House seats going towards the Republicans if they do that. Next post was about Seton Hall. Look, man, I don't know how many college basketball fans are out there. I'm a Seton Hall fan. It's gonna be a tough year for Seton Hall, man. They they rated our team. Kadar Richmond, Dre Davis, a lot of our young players. They rated them, man. We still have Isaiah Coleman, but Isaiah Coleman surrounded by a bunch of guys that can't play. So, uh, the good news is that Isaiah Coleman's a sophomore, so if he comes back, we might be okay next year if he brings in a decent transfer portal people. But right now, the team right now is just not good enough, man. So, you know, Shaheen's a good coach. Probably give him a pass for this year, but man, if this team looks this bad next year, uh, we might have to make a change because this is bad. They cannot score, can't make free throws. They play great defense, but they can't score, man. So you know, you can lose to any team in the country. So that's unfortunate how it goes. Next post is about Ice Spice. Yo, honestly, I never liked Ice Spice as a rapper. I do keep track of rap, even though a lot of rap is kind of vulgar. But I used to rap, and I do like rap. I like poetry and everything like that, and I do respect the genre. So I do keep track with it. Not really, just just because every now and then, just certain songs, whatever. But anyway, the bottom line is this post is about Ice Spice, and she looks absolutely terrible, by the way. She looks so skinny now. She used to be thick and healthy, and she used to be kind of cute, but now she looks so skinny and she looks awful. I don't know if she went on that Ozempic or whatever, but she looks like she's about to die. Like she looks that bad. But anyway, this is about a post, and I've seen a few of these posts where like people are trying to rap like her now. And these people are always saying how, oh, these people are trying to rap like me. No, like I've seen a lot of people try to rap like her, and I never seen like so many people just try to copy her style because it's really crazy. Like, but I mean, it's fine, I guess, because I mean, I don't think she's gonna really be that popular anymore because she is not. I don't know. I mean, she just doesn't look the same. That's just me. Uh, Another post I made was about I had a conversation with my father about the whole Denzel Washington thing. And he made a good point, man. I had a criticism of Denzel, but then he had a criticism of me and said, look, I understand what you're saying about him being a pastor, but I'm more worried about you not wanting to go to church. And the reason why I don't want to go to church is because I just don't think a lot of these pastors preach the proper gospel and everything like that. So it's kind of But with that said, God still does want you to go to church. I can't deny that. He wants you to be part of the church. So next week, I think I'm gonna really try to go to a church and just find. I don't know. I'm gonna find something. I just, it's just like once you go to church, they just like really want you to get involved, and I just really don't want to do all that. But I will try to do it, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. So I'll just try to do the bare minimum. They try to get you caught up. Oh, would you join this and blah blah blah. I just really don't want to introduce myself to nobody. But whatever I have to do, I'll just try to do it because that's what God wants, and I know it's wrong for me to just kind of avoid it. But so I'll do that. That's fine. Next post I made is somebody I guess is a Mets fan uh tried to say that they want to sign Trevor Bauer. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why nobody wants to sign this guy. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, he is still in his early 30s, I believe, or mid 30s. I think he's like 34. Let me look that up real quick. How old is Trevor Bauer? Like, this man has won 2 Cy Young Awards. He still throws hard. He's born in 91. So, yeah, he's like 33 years old. So, he's still a decent pitcher. Like the Yankees just signed Max Fried. He's 31 years old. So you can probably get this guy for the minimum. I don't make no. It really doesn't make any sense, though. Like he was accused of rape or something, and or sexual abuse or something like that. And the woman was lying. 2 women were lying on him. So now that he's cleared of these charges, why can't he pitch in the major leagues no more? It's just crazy. I mean, I know some people don't like him, but all of a sudden now you're not signing people that you don't like. The guy can pitch. Like we had like the Yankees. I'm a Yankee fan. and we had uh, what's his name? Just want to mess up his name real quick. I'm sorry, but I know. Oh, Clark Schmidt. Yeah, they had Clark Schmidt pitching in the World Series in the playoffs. So you telling me you rather have Clark Schmidt than Trevor Bauer pitching for you in the playoffs? Nah, it doesn't make any sense, though. And you could have got this guy for the minimum, and they don't want to do it. So that's just absolutely insane. I thought that was a good post by this guy. I was looking at good D tackles uh, who the Giants could draft. Um, I want Cam Ward, as I said earlier. But in the second round, I'm looking for a D tackle because I think the Giants need to be able to stop the run a lot better. So I'm, I was looking at D tackles, and I did come up with this little sleeper named Cam Horsley from Boston College, who is one of the best Power Five interior defenders. So I'll speak on him a little later, but they might not even have to get him for the second round. They might get him in the fourth round because I don't hear a lot of hype on him like that. So we'll see. After that, I spoke a little bit on Travis Hunter. I'm not like these other people that want to speak on Travis Hunter. I didn't post about any of these stuff on his relationship with this girl because it's just stupid to me. Like, um, it's just stupid to me because I mean, look, first off, like he's gonna make whatever decisions that he needs to make. It's really not my business to be talking about should he be with this girl, should he not be with this girl. I understand what some people are saying online, but he already responded to you people, and he said he doesn't care. He wants to go and do what he has to do with this girl. This is a fiance. He wants to move forward. At some point, you just gotta respect it, and that's basically what I posted. Just like respect his decision. Just respect his decision that he has made that he wants to marry this girl. And if things don't work out, things don't work out. That's just how things go, you know. He wants to go forward. He likes the girl. He loves the girl. He keeps defending her. So just let him do what he has to do. And if it doesn't work out, well, you know what? It's not your problem, dude. It's not your problem. So it just kind of makes it look like they don't really care about him when he does this type when they keep posting about these stuff like, oh, I'm exposing this girl going to this party. I'm exposing this girl making a comment. Like these are the stuff that his friends and his family need to point out. And if they're not pointing it out to him, then they're not pointing it out to him. I don't know what to say. Like he said, he wants to marry this girl, so let him marry the girl. Like I hope the girl treats him right when he becomes his wife. And if he doesn't, and she tries to take him for his money, you know what? My opinion is that God looks at everything, and if God sees that her heart was always trying to plan this and only marrying him so that she can get child support or you know 18 years of alimony from him, then you know what? Judge. God is gonna judge him, and God is going to say, um, you should not have done that, and treat her accordingly. So that's just what I believe. Um, and like I said, I think a lot of his peoples are seeing all these videos that people are making of him. They have to be talked. There's no way that they're not talking to him about it. So they see everything, and if it's still not convincing him, then just leave it alone, man. Just leave it alone, bro. Unfortunately, like not even talking about Travis anymore. It's just like some of these women, they're just not going to act like what ideal biblical women are supposed to act like. That's just not where we are in this country right now. So, unfortunately, nothing, our feelings, men's feelings of towards women haven't changed. So, we're always going to want companionship at some point, and he feels that this is the right companion for her. So that's fine, man. Just kind of have to just let him live his life and make that decision, and just like we all do. I can't say that I've made all the right decisions on who I should date and everything like that. But you know what? I live and I learn, and that's just how it has to be. Like sometimes you're only gonna learn from experience. But ultimately, I'm wishing him the best. I hope she's a good wife to him. I hope he's a good husband to her. And I'm wishing them the best, man. That's all you can do, man. I hope I really, really hope that things work out for those two. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that. So, last thing I posted on my video was, yeah, that Paul George contract for the Sixers is looking really bad. I saw that somebody had posted that contract just to kind of remind me of them making that signing. It was like a 4 year, $200 million deal. Yeah, man, you can't be giving these 30-year-olds, especially when they didn't do nothing for your team, these big contracts. The Bulls, one contract I'm always gonna remember is when the Bulls uh, gave Ben Wallace, and they were trying to, after Ben Wallace wasn't really that good no more. After Detroit had already won their championships and were on their way downhill, and Detroit didn't want to re-sign Ben Wallace. He goes to the Bulls and signs like a 4 year. I can't remember the details of the contract, but it was a big time. It was a big contract at the time. And look, he was still a decent player, I guess, but he wasn't nowhere near his prime, and he was only getting worse as the contract got further into it. And it's the same thing with Paul George. Paul George right now is averaging 16 a game. And he's shooting 42% from the field. And this is his first year of the contract. It's only going to get worse from there. So it just looks really bad for the Sixers. And I'm just saying that they can, uh, hopefully they can rebuild their front court because they seem like they got two really good guards, Maxey and McCain. They need Embiid to be healthy, which he never is. So I don't know. This whole thing might have to get rebuilt around those two guards of Maxey and McCain. It looks like they're not going to have a good season this year. So you got to get a good young front court piece and just kind of work it from there, man. I don't know what to say. But Sixers, it's not a good year for the Sixers, man. I thought they had a chance to compete for a championship. Embiid is hurt. Maxey was hurt for a while. Paul George is hurt. I mean, they just had a bunch of injuries, man. Honestly, Jared McCain's a good player, but I'm wondering how serious he takes basketball, man, because he just does a lot of weird, funny stuff, too. Uh, look, he's not playing bad, but that stuff that he does is a distraction, man. Like, if he doesn't see that, this, that's shame on him, dude, because that stuff is not uh, funny that he's doing. Like, I mean, but it looks like nobody's really saying anything bad about him yet or anything like that. But I don't know, man. He needs to calm that down, in my opinion. If you check his IG, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, man, that is some of the stuff that I posted on my timeline today. I want to see how this video kind of plays out. Thank you for listening. It was about an hour. I think I went through kind of a whole bunch of different topics. It was very nice, and thank you guys for listening to me. And I will be posting it on my Twitter and Facebook. And I just thank you guys for hearing me out on my thoughts on that type of stuff. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good day.